All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you have been following me for a while, you often hear me talk about the importance of having a community. Okay, you probably hear me talk about if you're selling something high ticket, you don't want to be hard selling, you don't want to be jumping on calls with people, and them not know anything about you or anything you do because it's a waste of time. Who wants to talk with prospects who don't know anything about what you do, how you do it, your backstory, etc.? That's something that I don't want to do. I used to be in the space where I was doing a lot of cold DMs as we're like pretty much working as a fitness coach, doing a lot of cold DMs and cold outreach. And I was generating like, I think it was like 10 to 12 calls per day, roughly. My closing rate was like less than 5%. Okay. And on paper, like, be like, oh, just do more calls. Like you're doing 5%, right? Just do 20 calls a day or hire a team or do this or add more complexity, right? Or get better at sales. You probably just suck at sales, man. While I thought that that was the answer, but it actually wasn't. It actually was the lack of nurturing. Okay. And this is why I talk a lot about communities. This is why I think a community is super essential. So I've talked about other communities like school or stuff in the past before. And I'm going to review a new community that actually one of my friends brought up to me when I met him not too long ago. And I'm just going to give my unbiased kind of review on the platform, my thoughts on it. I'm going to pretty much build a store and kind of see how this compares to some other options and give you just kind of my overall take on that. All right, so first thing we're going to do is I already went and kind of played around and built some communities, but I'm going to start from scratch and kind of see what this process is like. Okay, do you already have a business? Let's say I want to start selling community access. And let's say I'm doing like a lose fat boot camp, something like that for fitness coaching. So you can do some templates, which is kind of cool. What I've often found with some of these templates is like you never actually use them. Like I know with a lot of the templates that they give you sometimes for, I guess, other softwares, they're not the best, but let's see how this holds up for fitness coaching template. Okay, cool. So now we're in. So there's a few different things that we're going to go through here. What we're going to start with is the first thing that I pretty much recognized from Whop is their Discover page. So they pretty much have like this kind of like marketplace sort of thing where you can see other creators and kind of have some organic, traction through that. My thesis is the community platforms that can pretty much have the most amount of eyeballs on their page will win over time. Because think about it like this. Right now we have so many different communities, and each of these community platforms are kind of all trying to do the same thing in a sense. They're all trying to allow creators to monetize their brand or nurture their audience. Okay, but for example, if you take Google when they were first starting out, or Instagram when they were first starting out, whoever can get the most amount of eyeballs can win long term because let's say they were selling ads. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, so same with this. Whoever can of these community platforms can have the most amount of eyeballs on this page and the most amount of people coming and actually starting accounts with this, the more that people are going to see an ROI from like specifically the discovery organically actually on the page. Okay. I know a few different people who have communities within this. And when they're actually starting a discovery page, I know this one guy who he was starting a discovery page with this guy or starting a community, went on the discovery page with this guy and he got an increase of like, I think it was like 5 to 7% roughly on just conversions because of the organic discovery with this. So some food for thought, I guess. But as you can see, there's 9,300 on here. So within your different, category, potentially you can get some organic traction. But again, this is new. My prediction is like 5 to 10 years from now, hypothetically, if you have lots of eyeballs and lots of people coming to specifically like one community page, that's going to matter more than like the features, for example. Okay. Think about it like, real estate. If you're buying real estate in the, in Omaha in the middle of nowhere, okay, that's going to be less popular or less, you're going to be able to make less money from that real estate than potentially having real estate in, Manhattan, for example. Okay. So same principles apply. So that's pretty much the Discover page. Let's check out the next sort of pages. All right, so the next thing that comes to my mind when I'm going through this is products. So with products, you can create like under one community, you can have, I guess, a few different sort of products with this. So what these products are is like you can sell like let's say, a free product and a paid product within, I guess, one community. It looks like something like this. So let's go ahead and make a free instant access, never expires, public. Okay, done. Okay, and then you can pretty much make a free sort of, I guess, product with that. And I'm pretty much sure you can do the exact same thing with paid. So you can kind of have both of those under one sort of roof in a sense. Okay, let's say subscription, $20 a month. Continue, public, done. Pretty cool. So you can have, I guess, two different sort of options within it, rather than like, I know some other communities you have to make like a totally separate community to charge it under the same, like, totally separate community to have like a different offer or payment method within that. So that's pretty cool. And then the next thing that I'm looking at here is apps. So let's go through this. So the thing that I know about the apps with this is all of these apps, mainly like outside of, like, for example, TradingView or Discord, are Whop apps. Okay, so what this means is, like, when Apple was first starting out, all of the apps on like the iPhone 3G were all Apple apps. Like, even YouTube was an Apple app before Google acquired it. Okay, so same thing kind of applies to this. Okay, you have all of these apps you kind of add to the products that you are creating. So for example, you can have chat, add app. Okay, who can post, everyone, add a chat URL. Pretty cool. Okay, let's go back. You can add courses. So courses would be something like video recordings, stuff like that. And then you can limit access as well to the specific products, which is pretty cool. My first kind of glance going over this is that this is definitely a little bit more complex compared to other community options. I think that if you are already doing decent numbers and you are, I guess, looking for something a little more customized, like, for example, with like school, when you're going to school, for example, it feels like you're going on their school platform. With this, it feels like you're going to like a separate kind of page in a sense, which is, I guess, somewhat interesting. So with the apps, all of these apps are original to this. You have video calls, affiliate links, and stuff like that. So pretty cool. You can also add telegrams, stuff like that. First glance, this looks pretty cool. Again, I do think that this is quite complex, but you can use it. Complexity is a double-edged sword, right? You can use that to your advantage, or for a lot of people who may be not super accustomed or not super comfortable with this, it may kill them in a sense because it's too complex and they're not really sure how to figure things out. Okay, so that's for apps. The next thing I want to go over with Whop that I found probably the most interesting is pretty much the payment processing. Okay, so I have a few friends who have gone through and switch their payments through Whop, because what Whop does is they have this challenge right now. I don't know if I can come back here, but yeah, it's right here. So win a trip to New York City, 10K in 30 days. So I've had a few friends who've actually done this, and they just switched their payments from like Stripe over to Whop, and they got flown out to New York City. It's like full expenses on them. I've had a few friends who've done that, a few, I guess, business friends that have done that who are also selling coaching and stuff like that. And it's pretty interesting because the payment processor, for example, is not like if you're starting a separate community on like another community platform, a lot of the times you have to use like an integration where it's like a Stripe integration or some sort of like other integration through like a Zapier or stuff like that. With this, you can kind of just set the payout with Whop, like on Whop, which is, I guess, an advantage, which is pretty cool. And you can potentially win that right there. So that's pretty much my overall take on Whop. I do think that this platform is very well organized. It's very complex. The only downfall I would say to this is if you are starting out from scratch, there's a lot of things here that you probably don't need, because all in all, the purpose of having a community is to get people into that community and to educate people, or potentially convert a large audience that you've already built on, like, let's say, Instagram or YouTube or something like that. Okay. But for the most people who don't have a big following and they're just looking to convert people and educate people, the bare bones essentials that you're going to need is pretty much just having some sort of chat and having some sort of content in there that's private to that community, okay, that they can go through and get educated on, okay? But if you're actually on the other latter half and you have a big audience and you're looking for something a little more customized, I do think that this is a great option for you. And that's pretty much my overall take. What I do also think, just one more thing before I end this video, is in terms of customization. So if I come to Edit Store, the amount of customizations that you can do is, like I said, there's a lot that you can kind of do here. Okay, there's a lot of different things that you can, like, in terms of products, in terms of apps, in terms of, pretty much pimping this out to look really unique in a sense, and not really feel like you're going to like a separate community page, more like you're going to your own community page. I do think that's cool. I do think that you can add a lot of customization that you can't with other platforms. But again, that's a double-edged sword. Okay, so that's pretty much that. I do think that this is a great platform. I do want you to remember, though, that with the overall organic growth, this is probably one of the biggest points that I'm going to make in this video. Comparing all of the other platforms, like other community platforms, whoever can have the most amount of people to come to their page every single month, year after year, those will win. Because whoever is ranked the highest, for example, this guy right here, he's at the #1 spot. Cody Cover Spreads, the goat of sports betting. This guy right here is ranked #1 on Whop. Okay, in order to get ranked #1 on Google for like a search term, like let's say gyms near me or personal trainers or how to lose fat, that costs, like, I know this because I run SEO. That costs thousands and thousands of dollars per day. Okay, to get ranked on Google, because the real estate is so real estate is so valuable. Okay, so same thing with here with the discovery place. Whoever, comparing all these community platforms, whoever can drive the most amount of eyeballs to this will win. And I think Whop's doing a decent job with that, comparing other community platforms and stuff like that. I believe they're doing around 5 or so million views to this Discover page per month, which is, I don't know how that compares to other platforms specifically, but long term, that's pretty much what we're going to see. Okay, and pretty much just to wrap this video up, I want you to remember that right now AI, okay, is kind of on the brink of potentially a larger explosion than we've seen so far. Okay, over the next 5-10 years, it's only going to be exponential. And the only way for us to leverage ourselves against AI, the only thing that AI can't take away from us is human-to-human interaction. Okay, so thinking about having a community, even if it's a free community, or even if it's a really low-ticket community, something where it's human-to-human interaction, that's what you're selling, okay, and giving to people, even for free, is going to be something that AI can never take away from us. Okay, so what my prediction is a lot of these platforms like Whop, School, Discord, etc., communication style platforms are going to be even larger than they are right now, and they're probably going to be some of the largest companies that we're going to see over the next 10, 15, 20 years. Okay, because, for example, if you're an engineer, if you're a coder, I'm sorry, your job's probably already taken away from you from ChatGPT. Okay, coding some shit, like ChatGPT can do that. Okay, but I can't take away having a meaningful conversation with someone that I met in a community who whatever, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's something that AI can never take away. So this is my overall review on Whop. I would probably rank Whop a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a great platform. I think there's a lot of usage. I do think that this platform is going to be definitely one of the top platforms over the next couple of years, especially with the founders. I know some of the founders as well of this company. I believe there are 3 founders, and they are very brilliant guys, young guys as well, who know a lot about internet marketing, know a lot about pretty much what customers want. So you have to think, where do you want to invest your brand and your face into? Because you don't want to invest your brand into something in terms of discovery page, like I'm talking about, that's going to have a low ROI on your real estate where you're putting your face. Okay, Instagram, you can go on there, you can get millions of views because there's 3 billion people who actively use Meta. Okay, but if you go on like Pinterest, for example, who only has like 200, 300 million people on Pinterest, it's a lot different of a platform. Okay, you're more likely long term not going to get the same amount of impressions. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. I hope this gave you some value in terms of potentially what your thoughts on Whop are, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Cheers.